What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today we are going to talk about jazz articulations. One of the easiest and fastest ways to dramatically improve your sound is through the use of articulations. So today we're going to dive deep into a 4-bar phrase that I wrote in one of the exercises that I use with my private students. We're going to talk about all the notes you should bring out and why you should bring them out. Before we start the tutorial, I'd like to take a second to thank Legere Reeds for sponsoring this video. One of my favorite things about Legere Reeds is the way they articulate. I can get super crisp, super clean articulations out of them. My style, I'm kind of known for having a pretty aggressive, funky style where I articulate a lot. I'm a very dynamic player. This reed can keep up with everything I'm trying to do on the saxophone. So if you have not tried a Legere Signature yet, I strongly suggest it. Okay, so let's dive into the tutorial. This is what the phrase sounds like without any of the articulations. It sounds okay. It's got a nice jazz style. You know, the song, the little segment kind of bounces along really nice. It's a pretty melodic sounding phrase. But this is what it sounds like when you add all of the articulation. So that is a pretty drastic difference from the first way. And I didn't really do anything super advanced. All I did was bring out a whole bunch of articulation. Almost every note I'm doing something to. I'm either using it as a goal note or I'm using it as a setup note. You can definitely hear the direction in my phrase. So let's take a look at this first measure. It starts off with a C sharp quarter note on the beat. And what we're gonna do to that note is we're gonna marcato it. Marcato is looks like that. And I call them dops. I have a tendency to call articulations by what they sound like. And this sounds like a dop. So it's a fat, heavy staccato. So take a listen to it. Instead of playing, I go. Just by playing that first note fat, it sets everything up. So from there, we need to find the next goal note. So let's play that measure and take a listen and find out what's important. To me, that F sharp is important. So that's what I'm headed for. So I'm gonna bring that F sharp out. I'm gonna dop the C sharp on the beat, and then I'm gonna bring out the F sharp on beat 4. Now we're not gonna accent it, we're just gonna kind of lean into it a little bit more. We're gonna make it more important, but we don't want like a full on accent. We just wanna like put a little shape on it. Yeah, so there's no real articulation marking that means bring it out a little bit. So I just use a line down. So when you see a line down and the music written below, that means that's your goal note. That's a note that you're gonna bring out. Now, what's really important is the note before that goal note, that C sharp. To me, that sounds like it needs to be pulled back some. I'm gonna ghost that note. Ghost meaning not play at full value, and it's gonna set the F sharp up even better. So sometimes in the articulation, we're gonna play a note louder to make it more important. Sometimes we're gonna play the note before it softer to make the next note sound more important. So in this case, we're gonna ghost the C sharp, and we're going to lean into the F sharp. Do you hear the difference between that and, again, it's night and day. And we didn't really do a whole lot. We dopped the quarter note, we ghosted the C sharp, and then we leaned into the F sharp. Now, we need to find the next note that's important. So let's start at the beginning and find our next goal note. Right there, that A seems like a pretty important note to me. So we're gonna bring that A out. Yeah, so if I don't bring that A out, this is what it sounds like. Doesn't sound terrible, but you don't have the shape. We're looking for shape. We're looking for like small things that we can do to create a lot of shape. So we're gonna bring that A out. Now, before I play that A, there's that F sharp. Now, I don't want to ghost that F sharp. It seems like if I ghosted it, it would sound weird, but I definitely want to pull it back a little bit. I want the A to be more important. So if I can pull that F sharp back just a little bit, it's going to make the A sound stronger. You hear that? Pulling it back instead of playing. So by pulling back the F sharp and hitting the A, it makes the phrase have more shape. Cool, so let's find the next goal note. So to me, that D sharp sounds like a pretty important note, and that is a direction change note. You're almost always going to bring out a direction change note. Sometimes it might be the note before it or the note after it. But whenever there's a big direction change, you're always going to bring something out so that you're accenting the change in direction. Again, we're not going to accent the actual note. We're just going to lean into it a little bit. But we want to definitely hear that direction change happen. Take a listen to it. Yeah, so that makes it sound a lot better. Without leaning into the direction change, this is what it would sound like. Now, again, it doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't have nearly as much direction. Now, let's talk about the first note of the third measure. That is a G sharp. It's a quarter note on the beat. So, of course, we are going to dop it. We want to dop those quarter notes on the beat. It's always going to make things sound better. Oh, did you hear that? One more time. Take a listen to it. So, in this one, I'm bringing out the B, the G sharp, and the E. I call those ricochet notes because they kind of like bounce off of each other. And the three notes in between them, I bring them all down. I pull them back. I don't quite ghost them, but I definitely pull them back because I want those ricochet notes to be the most important notes. The ricochet notes, like they sound like they're kind of like bouncing into each other, and you can definitely hear the direction in bringing all three of those notes out. Take a listen. Let's put the whole thing together from the beginning. Now that A, we want to land on it. After those three ricochet notes, we have that A on the beat. Normally we wouldn't really do a whole lot with that, but because we're walking down those notes, we want to have like a strong landing. So we're going to land on that A. So it's going to be even more, it's probably going to be more of an accent than even bringing it out. We want to have like a strong landing. So take a listen to it one more time. Now, if you take a look at that G sharp, it's the longest note in the phrase, and it's a long note on the and. Whenever you have a long note on the offbeat, you're always going to bring it out. You're always going to accent it. So we're going to land on that A, and then we're going to jump into that G sharp. We're going to bring out the G sharp. If we don't, doesn't sound bad, but doesn't sound great. Now, this thing ricochets into the F sharp. So that G sharp creates tension, and then it lands on the F sharp. You hear that turns around and lands on the F sharp? So you want to bring that out. If not, you're missing a really great opportunity to bring out some really good dynamic or some really good articulations. This is what it sounds like without it. Kind of boring. You hear all that direction? That's what articulation does. It creates direction. It gives direction in your lines. And when you combine that with dynamics, you really sound great. It really gives you professional sounding lines. All right, so let's start at the very beginning and play the whole line. That sounds way better than where we began. So let's take a listen to it without all the stuff we just added. That's night and day. And again, we didn't do anything that was like super advanced, super difficult. Like there wasn't some kind of like special tonguing technique that we did. All we did was bring out the important notes, and we pulled back on some of the less important notes so that the more important notes sounded more important. So the whole thing is developing the line through all of the direction that you can put in using the articulation and of course dynamics as well. So take a listen to it one last time. So the difference between sounding okay-ish and sounding really great is bringing out the direction in the line through your articulations. I'd like to throw another shout out to Legere Reeds for sponsoring this video. I play Legere Reeds. I play the Legere Signature 2.25. If you're interested in trying a synthetic reed, I strongly suggest checking out the Legere Signature line. Thanks for taking the time to check this video out. If you now understand how important articulations are in your jazz lines, I'd really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends. Thanks a lot.